24/7, 365. The fantasy season never dies. Welcome to Every Day is Draft Day. Presented by Champions Round.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the latest edition of Every Day is Draft Day. I'm your host, Dan Turner. Joining me today for the latest edition of Hot Takes and Pancakes, we have my normal co-host, Steffi Smalls, and the one, the only, Jeff Haseley. What is up, Jeff and Steph?
Hey there.
Hello.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And I love this show. Like, I was looking forward to it when I woke up this morning. It's fun to do this show. I feel like it's kind of therapeutic. End of the week, we could talk about some of our hot takes we want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So I was excited. Yeah, I'm happy that we've been doing this on Fridays. It's fun.
Yes, this is turned into a really fun show. Unfortunately, no Jason this week because he's off doing other stuff. So just the three of us today. So we'll just kick this right off. And Jeff, why don't you give us your first hot take?
Oh, really? I thought you always go first.
I'm not going first today. I always go first in everything ever.
I guess I'm going first. That's
Yes.
the first thing. Okay, well, I know I've talked about this before in the past, but I'm really high on the Rams offense, and I like the fact that Cooper Kupp is going to be looked at as the guy to stop, which is going to open things up for none other than Allen Robinson. So my take is that he's going to finish with 80 catches, 8 touchdowns, or 1,000 yards, and it could be all three. It could be all three. Now, just hear me out. Robinson he's a 4-time 150 target wide receiver in his career. He once had 14 touchdowns. I think it was his second year in the league. Mm-hmm. He has had 80 catches 3 times in his career, including a 3-time 1,000-yard receiver. And you might be thinking, well, how is he going to fit in with Kupp? Well, before Robert Woods went down with an injury, he was the wide receiver 12 through week 9 last year. So if Robinson is the number 2 on the team, you got to think that he's going to get some action. So I am really high on Allen Robinson. I think that 80 catches, 8 touchdowns, and 1,000 yards, one of those 3 is possible. And like I said, it could be all 3.
So where do you have him finishing in wide receiver rankings?
Where do I have him ranked?
Yeah, where do you think he finishes? Do you think he's like wide receiver 13 or wide receiver 10 or where?
I have him. Let me look. Let's see. I've got him.
I feel like Dan does not agree with you, but I do agree with you. So I'd like to hear Dan's counterpoint before I make your argument.
I currently have him wide receiver 17.
7? Okay.
I like that. I was going to say, I think top 20 is fair.
I actually like him at wide receiver 17.
Really?
Okay, so that's not.
I think
it's not hot take. He's not like wide receiver 10 or 8. He's not the 8th best wide receiver, right? But no, I think. I mean, he's going with ADP. He's like wide receiver 27, wide receiver 30, and you're like, whoa, that's
crazy.
That is crazy. So Allen Robinson's my big hot take. What do you guys think?
And that is very, like, I feel like, I know Dave Kluge's been doing a lot on Allen Robinson, some really good stuff on him. And I think, one, there's 2 things that are happening. One thing that Dan and I talk about all the time, and that is people are so scared to have more than one wide receiver on their roster from an offense that is going to be productive, right? Like, I'm not asking you to take 2 Giants wide receivers. Like, this is 2 guys that I think Allen Robinson could be a top 20 wide receiver without a doubt. There's no reason why in an offense like that he can't. I think people then start getting scared of his age, which is ridiculous because we weren't this scared of age like a couple years ago. Age has now become like the end of the world for everyone. It's like they see a 28-year-old and no one is in. No, thank you. I'm good. And I think people forget how long wide receivers, like ever since, because he tore his ACL, right? And it was about that time. I think people started getting like his yards after, like that kind of stuff did maybe decline a little bit, but he still can be so productive. And you're not asking for a lot out of him on an offense that is so productive. Like, I'm cool with it. Give me Kupp and Robinson on the same roster. Like, that does not scare me.
And he's only 1 year removed from having 2 straight 98 reception seasons.
Yeah. It's like people forget that targets so quickly. Yeah.
Right. And you made a good point about the second wide receiver on a strong offense. And oftentimes you want to buy that dip. Robinson is an example of one of those. You got maybe like Jalen Waddle on Miami.
You know who's my favorite one? Honestly, is always Thielen. Like, we're talking about a guy. Even last year, he did get hurt, but like, people want to fade Thielen every year. They're ready to fade Thielen. Justin Jefferson's there, or what? So be it. Like, I'm pretty sure Thielen finished wide receiver 28 or somewhere around there. And had he not get injured, I think he obviously would have finished a little bit higher than that. But still, like wide receiver 28 that you can depend on literally week to week. Sure, is he a little bit touchdown dependent? Probably. But again, productive offenses, you want to know what they do? They score touchdowns, so I don't care. Like, it's fine.
And he's a scorer. So, he's got a nose for the end zone, so you got to love that. You got to love that. Thielen is a really, really, really good example there.
Yeah. So I think people get very scared off. Dan and I always talk about, we're very high on there's like a few things we talk about all the time. One is stacking Vikings players. One is Russell Gate. Like, there's a few things we talk about all the time. So I won't beat a dead horse, but I agree. I think Allen Robinson, people are forgetting. It's really easy, like, to just forget about these guys when you don't get to see them in how well they can produce on the field. So I'm with you on that one, actually.
Yeah. Here's just a list of the quarterbacks that Allen Robinson has played with in his career. Ready? So it's Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
Lordy.
Then in 2017, he tore his ACL, which you mentioned. Then it's Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles, old-ass Andy Dalton, and then rookie Justin Fields. That's the quarterbacks that have been throwing Allen Robinson the ball. So,
and now he has a fringe Hall of Famer in
Matthew Stafford, and it's not even close.
And I think he's a good example of one of those guys too. Like, a lot of times, I think we saw it last year, like, the chemistry just sometimes isn't there. It's not something you can totally explain. Like, and I think that was part of it. It just wasn't working there. And I think that he gets a new setting too, in a very big improvement across the board, no matter what you want to say or what you want to pick. But like, he's in a good spot now. And I think that he's had some time to really rest, and I think he's ready to rock. I like him to be a top 20. And even if not top 20, he's definitely going to be flirting in that area.
Yeah. And he's not the number one guy for the first time in his career. He's not going to get all the attention.
We like that because they stay healthy when it's like that.
And we can buy the dip on Cooper Cup.
The coach that
we can buy the dip on Cooper Cup.
That's going to, tailor the offense to, his talents too. That he's going to incorporate him into the offense with what he does best. And it's going to be a really good thing.
Why don't you go, Dan? I can go first. Why don't I do one? I'll do one. Look at me.
Hey, contribute.
Are you proud of me? Okay. Actually, this is more of a question because everyone is very down on Pat Freiermuth. I am not down on Pat Freiermuth. I think that he is going too late. I think he finished tight end 13 through the entire season. I think that they're one of those teams too. What's going to happen when a quarterback panics a little bit? I feel like it's going to be check down city there for a while. I think that Freiermuth is still going to be really heavily involved, and people are knocking him for some reason, and it really upsets me. I don't know how you guys tell me or convince me why Freiermuth can't be a top 12 tight end.
I think the biggest concern for me is just the concussions that he had last year, right? 2 concussions in the course of 30 days, I believe it is what it was. So that's a little bit of a concern. And the other concern is just what the offense is going to do with either that's Mitchell Trubisky or it's Kenny Pickett. And how is Freiermuth going to be a part of that? I think he's still going to be a key piece. But, I mean, if the offense struggles, if the offense can't sustain drives, if they can't get first downs and convert on third down, how good is Freiermuth going to be? So a lot depends on how that offense does, in my opinion.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, it's Trubisky or it's Kenny Pickett in his small hands or whatever, which I'm so tired of hearing about that. But I think that, even if it is Kenny, he's going to, like most rookie quarterbacks do, he's going to search for that underneath option, his safety valve. Tight ends have always been called safety valves for a reason. He's going to be
a security blanket right there for him.
Yeah, throw anything you want for tight ends and quarterbacks. I mean, that the situation is there for them. So I really think, and people don't understand that being a top 12 tight end isn't really that hard to get to, considering after you get past the first like 7 or so, they really fall off a cliff and you can just, pick whoever you want there. So to get into that top 12, it really doesn't take that much effort. And I think he's in a prime position, especially after what we saw last year when, he proved he could play.
One thing about Freiermuth is, he had 7 touchdowns. So we know he also has a nose for the end zone. And he really didn't start to come on until maybe like week 9, week 10. Mm-hmm. And just the fact that he was able to do that as a relatively young player in the league, the future is bright for him for sure.
My Steelers preview that I did got me like really looking at that team. And I just think in general, like, I think something that people are forgetting about, and I won't harp on this too long, but I think that Canada got a lot of slack for the way that the offense looked. But I don't think that was his offense yet. Like, he got promoted in 2021 to the offensive coordinator. Big Ben is there. Like, no matter what, like that was Big Ben's offense. The offense is going to run through him. He's been there so long. He's that strong vet presence. And call it however you want to. Like, Ben has his legacy, but like his arm looked like crap, right? It did not look good. They were not airing the ball out. It wasn't nothing was crazy going down the field. And I think that the Steelers are in a position, they have restocked their wide receiver room in a very beautiful fashion, done very well for the guys that they did part ways with. And I think that Canada is going to impress people this year because I think he's going to get the chance to actually run his offense the way he wants. They might come out a little shaky, but I think the Steelers still, they're in it. And their defense, that division is just going to run through defenses. They're going to battle it out through the defense. I think that the offense isn't even... that whoever has the strongest D is probably going to end up winning that division. It's going to be very cutthroat, and I think I'm looking forward to see what Canada can do when he gets the opportunity to really use his wide receivers, because I don't know if they were getting used the way they should have.
That's good. Okay, so it's my turn, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
go for it.
So for my first hot take, I'm going to go with a little inter-NFC East action. I'm going to say that Saquon Barkley outscores Ezekiel Elliott this year and finishes as a higher running back. I think that Tony Pollard is going to be a lot more involved in the offense now, especially without Amari Cooper. I think he's going to be more involved in the passing game. I think that, Zeke is still a good player. I think he, is reaching that point where he could, be on the verge of falling off the proverbial cliff a little bit. And I think that, Barkley's only thing has been health. He hasn't been healthy the past couple of years. I think that, his injuries have been pretty severe, but with the new coaching staff there, no one really behind him to take any, he's still going to be the number one guy, the bell cow there, which is really rare nowadays. And, he's going to be an option out of the backfield as well. So I think that it's certainly within the real possibility for Barkley to outscore Zeke.
All right, let me give my response to that, and then Smalls, you can go. I don't really like, or I don't mind either of Barkley or Elliott this year, and the reason why is because, in my opinion, Zeke is he's that alpha player. He's that alpha running back. He likes to get the ball. He wants the ball. That's like his mentality. I don't see him or the team kind of giving in to Pollard as the top guy. I don't see that unless there's an injury or if he's like just falls off the cart. So in that regard, I like Zeke. I like his opportunity. I like his ability and his talent, of course. So I think he can do well. I also think that Barkley can do well in this offense. We've seen reports already about how he's all over the field, wanting to use him as a weapon, not just as a rusher, which when we saw him as a rookie, he was, what did he catch? 90 balls, I believe it was. And I'm sure that he would like to get back to that, as well as the team, and anyone who is in favor of the Giants offense would love to see that. And if Barkley has done it in the past, chances are he can do it again. So I like the fact that you're calling Barkley out as a potential winner over Zeke, and I'm not going to disagree. I kind of like both, but Barkley is the one who also has more of the carry share. So he's not going to have to worry about a Pollard. And it seems obvious that they're just going to get him involved, super involved in that offense. So I kind of agree with you, but I also don't want to, start the retirement party for Ezekiel Elliott just yet. So that's my take on your take, Steph.
I'm a little torn. The NFC East running backs are just like so polarizing. I feel like across the board, whether it's been disappointment or a random player out playing, whatever it is. I've never been high. Like, I was not high on Zeke going into last year, so I might be a little bit biased going into this. I think the time now in Dynasty is to sell Zeke. I did that on the rosters I had him. I think that window is going to close very quickly. I think that without Amari Cooper on the Cowboys, this offense is going to end up looking a little different, and I'm still trying to figure out how I see that going. Dak plays much, much, much better when Zeke is heavily involved and when Amari Cooper was heavily involved. Now you take Amari Cooper out of the question. I think they need to stop having Zeke. I don't know if you guys, he was blocking more than they were using him to run plays a lot of the time. And I think that they need to decide where his fit is and actually use him to Zeke's ability. I don't know that I'm ready, and maybe it's because I'm a skeptical Giants fan. I think Saquon Barkley blows his ADP out of the freaking water. The fact that I just drafted him in the 6th round it's ridiculous. People are forgetting you haven't seen him. Now you get a new O-line, a new head coach. Like, everything is there setting that kid up to do very well. Now he's very far out from his injury. And I think Saquon Barkley, there's no reason he can't be a top 10 running back this year. I do feel like Zeke is declining a little bit. And I don't feel strongly. It might be because I like Tony P a lot as well. But the Cowboys are a team, and I'm excited to do that preview because I'm trying to figure out how their offense is going to totally look. Like, is it going to run through Dalton Schultz? Like, who is going to be their stud there this year? Because I don't know if I was high on CD going into the offseason, and now I'm like, I think there's a chance that he maybe doesn't get to the number that we want from him.
Ooh.
Well, there's a take right there, actually.
Take with a take.
I would say also don't forget about James Washington there. I think he's someone that we need to realize he could potentially have some fantasy relevance with Michael Gallup's knee situation kind of coming along, Yeah,
because Gallup, that's part of it. Gallup is going to take a little bit of time to get in there. And you don't know also what if that lets the rookie get hot too. It might be that scenario where you see the rookie get hot there. And Dak does, when he's comfortable with someone and the play calling allows him to do what he wants a little bit, he is a favoriter a little bit, the way that you see Aaron Rodgers do that. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, there's some question marks in the Dallas offense for sure. But I don't know if I agree with your take about CeeDee Lamb being not able to commit to the
I don't know if it's ability or if it's just that's how it's gonna roll out. I think, and I haven't ever I've been taking him. My favorite startup order is I've been taking Justin Jefferson and then CeeDee Lamb. I have done that at least 3 times in startups this offseason. And I think that he has the full skill set to be an alpha. I'm just wondering if the Cowboys are gonna let him do that.
Yeah, and for me, it's not even I'm not questioning maybe his wide receiver. On the Cowboys, he's obviously going to be the top receiver there. I just don't know how well he's going to be able to fit what they need from him being the guy. Because after him, it's James Washington and Jason and Tolbert and a bunch of question marks, and Dalton Schultz as well. I mean, Dalton Schultz is very underrated, tight end as well. I don't know how he's going to be able to handle being the focal point there. Cooper took a lot of the pressure off him last year. So without him there, I just don't know. Nothing to do, talent-wise and athleticism, he's off the charts. He's a great receiver. There's no questioning that. It's just how he's going to be able to deal with that kind of attention is my
right. Yeah, it could be huge or it could be disappointing. So, yeah. All right. My turn. I got another one.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, guys. I think Rob Gronkowski finishes inside the top 10 in terms of tight ends.
I love it.
You're
I love it.
You're probably wondering, what?
Yeah.
He's got to play first, right? Well, here's
right. He has
the
to
thing.
sign first.
He's got to sign first. So number one, let's skip right ahead. I think that he's going to sign. I think that's what we're all going to see. I think he does not want to be in training camp, and I think this is his way of trying to negotiate this. But yeah, I think that I think he'll sign, and you got to have some sort of training camp. Maybe he doesn't attend the entire thing, but I think he signs. I was looking at his numbers last year, and he only played 12 games, and he finished the tight end 7 in 12 games. He was the tight end 4, was the 4th ranked tight end after week 10. And we know that he already has that strong rapport with Brady. The Bucs offense could definitely use him. I mean, if he plays, he's going to be utilized, and I just don't see him falling outside of the top 10 if he plays. So that's
so funny.
That's
I just got his card, and I just got one of his cards in the mail. From Arizona though. Don't get me too excited.
Nice.
I have I ordered a Nick Foles and a Rob Gronkowski one. The Nick Foles is way cooler, but I agree with you. I think he's one of those guys. Like every girl has a timeless piece in their closet that always looks good on you. It's your black dress that you can throw on there's no maintenance to it. That's Rob Gronkowski. He doesn't really need to go to training camp. He's going to be there when you need him. He said himself, he doesn't watch any tape. Like he's the guy that he goes out and he balls and he plays football and he's great. He was born with a gift, and as long as he is on the field, I will always be rooting for Rob. I know he's going to do well. And that's being unbiased as a Wildcat, but I agree with you. I think you can't deny the connection that players like that have together.
Yeah. And his ADP right now is like later than 20 in terms of tight ends off the board. And if you can get him late, you're just loving life. If he's your tight end 2 or 3, who eventually is going to be your tight end 1. And hopefully you spent, that draft capital in other positions. I mean, he could be huge right now if he pans out.
Yeah, I think a lot of the ADP is people wondering if he's going to come back or not. I think once he signs, it's going to
it'll
skyrocket.
Yeah, but it may only shoot up to 12.
Yeah, even then, that's still good. Because he was top 5 T last year. All right, so the last one we'll do today is we posted on Twitter to see what people thought their outtakes were. So we're going to discuss this one. Our friend of the show, Bo. He said Trey Lance and Justin Fields are both going to be top 10 fantasy QBs. So I can see Trey Lance if he starts. There's still, Drew Garoppolo going to be ready. I can see Trey Lance. He has the athletic ability. He has Debo. He has Kittle. Under no circumstances is Justin Fields even sniffing the top 10. There's just no chance, at all. He was QB 31 last year.
Yeah.
He lost Allen Robinson. He has Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet and literally nothing else.
Yeah.
I mean, Byron Pringle doesn't count. So
I mean, and in order for Fields to reach that huge pedestal or that level of top 10, which is not easy to do because there's a lot of good quarterbacks, he's going to have to – I just don't see it coming from his arm. He's going to have to be the next Michael Vick in terms of a rushing quarterback, and I don't see that out of him. And the next Lamar Jackson, I'm aging myself. So I'm with you, Dan. I don't see it. I do see Lance. Lance has the ability to run. We already know that. And as soon as you have the ability to run, you automatically are into the conversation of being a top 10 upside quarterback. Yeah. Could Fields do that? He can, yes. But he also he only needs to be like a decent passer to have a chance to do that. And I'm not even sure if we have that.
No. And that's the thing, too. It's all about supporting cast, too. Trey Lance has a good supporting cast. Jalen Hurts has a good supporting cast. Justin Fields has not that. He doesn't have a good supporting cast, So, I agree. His rushing upside could theoretically get him to maybe that level. But I just don't his offensive line isn't good enough. I don't think to protect him enough to get him to on those long runs. He's crazy athletic. I give him that, but I just don't see it. I don't see how he jumps 21 spots from last year with what they have around him to get into that top 10 spot.
That's the big question mark. Steph, what do you think?
I'll end on this note is that I think that I think Justin Fields can and will get there. I think he has everything that I love him in Dynasty right now. I think he's fantastic. But still, I think next year is going to be he's on this trajectory for me where I think we really see him boom the third year. Like, I don't see next year. I think he's going to be working out kinks. I think that the Bears have a lot of things they got to pull together there. I don't think the supporting cast is great. There's a couple pretty aging players there, and they got to put it together. And the Bears have had that problem for a while. So top 10 is just a little too steep for me as far as next year goes. I don't know if that means he's not going to get there. It doesn't mean that I think he's not going to improve. Like, we might see by week 7, oh my God, Fields looks awesome. And that's great. I hope he pulls it together that way. Top 10 on the season is too rich for me. Lance, I can see. Lance, I think as long as he is the starting guy, I think he is going to get himself out of situations with his legs, and that's going to easily boost him over, even if like he struggles a little bit figuring it out in the receiving game.
Yeah, a realistic improvement for Fields would be like quarterback 25 or something like that, 23, somewhere in like the lower 20s. I don't like top 10 is just unrealistic. So.
I think I could see Trevor Lawrence being a better option at top 10 than Fields.
Yeah.
If we're looking at
absolutely. That's another one that listen, Trevor Lawrence is a friend of the show accidentally. We are high on Trevor Lawrence over here.
Yep, exactly. And as high as Russell Gage, who we talk about every single episode, but he's up there. Yeah. All right, so that'll do it for this episode of Hot Takes and Pancakes. Hopefully you enjoyed our show. We promise we'll come back with even hotter takes next week. But, we have to run now because Steph has, another meeting to get to. So I hope everyone enjoyed the show.
Don't blame it on me.
I'm blaming it on you. It's your fault.
Okay, that's fine. It is
we
my
have
fault.
Amazing, content over at Champions Run. Look at our Daily Dozen, Steph's 32-team show, and join our Discord.
Love
That's
it.
Right?
See you guys. Happy Friday.
Everyone have a good weekend. Enjoy the weather if it's sunny, or don't enjoy the weather if it's raining.
Maybe people like rainy weather. Thunderstorms.
Well, those people don't deserve to be happy.
Hit the button.
Sucks.
See ya.